So here we are, our 100th episode. For those of you who have been with us from the beginning, thank you. For those of you who have just joined us, welcome. We're going to show you some flashbacks from the past, some short ones, followed by a couple of longer ones, which were my personal favorites over time. So stick around. We'll start with this young lady. Episode 1, A Filly with a Temper. She certainly had that. Here she is, a month later, after things sorted out, a much more peaceful and contented horse. We also have playlists up. They'll show a variety of things, such as we're demonstrating here, getting horses used to scary objects, under saddle and in hand, although this mare didn't find this to be that scary, as you can see. We work through these basics. We also work through more advanced maneuvers, such as how to stop your horse properly. We move on and work with starting a young horse under saddle. And these episodes were not put up in a particular order, but they are organized by playlist. Go to our channel, look at the playlist, and that's exactly where you'll find a structure that will let you make sense of the content and maybe find some help with your own horses. Here's a horse doing what horses should do, having a little bit of a job. And here's a more advanced maneuver. Right there, we're going to change leads. So it's a process. The process is spelled out on the channel. Hope you'll join us. Look back at things to deal with whatever is going on with your horse. This horse here needs a little help with anger management. Here he is about 6 rides later, not perfect, but improved. And we've had a number of horses with problems that we do have a playlist for. If you see something familiar, perhaps that could be of use to you. Here's the first ride on a nice young horse doing what nice young horses do on the first saddling. And this is another horse that has some anger management issues, who's very defensive, and we're working through that. That's an episode that you might find interesting, working with a more challenging horse. And here we are with something a lot less challenging and frankly more satisfying. We've just round penned this filly a bit, and all I did was sit down and relax to see if she felt enough connection to come in. And when this happens, it's a good feeling, it's appreciated, and it makes it all worthwhile. Hope we can help you to get the same kind of results with your own horses. Here we are once again with Ginger, the filly with a temper, showing herself to be a pretty nice, relaxed trail horse. And moving on, we're back with Ginger for a little bit more quality time. Now you're going to see some breaks here and there. I give her breaks to let her sort of think this through. Now we did piece this video together a bit, and that may not be completely apparent, but I don't just keep the pressure on her. I give her a little time to soak. Sometimes she comes back worse, not better. Other times she starts to get the message. So right now, she's looking kind of peaceful. I'm able to tug on that, move her closer to me. Pretty nice. But that doesn't close the book on backsliding. This is after she had a little break. I readjusted the rope. It's a slightly different place. I'm letting the slack come out completely and then reapplying, and she likes that much less. So this is kind of Custer's last stand for her. She's sort of starting to give it up. But she had to have that second wind there. That's why you hang in there. Don't assume that you're winning too soon, because you hear what she has to say about it. Did you see her think about it?
Yeah.
Changed her mind. Now the whole sequence was longer than this, but we just didn't get it all taped. My wife was running out of arm. But the whole sequence was about 12 minutes. The video's about 4 minutes. And by the end of the session, I do what I like to do with all of them, and that is get them leading by the flank. Now she's resisting leading, but she's not getting angry. She's starting to try to figure it out. And pretty quickly, because she's no dummy, she breaks loose and says, all I have to do is take the slack out myself. Pretty good deal. See, she's being led by the flank, not by the head rope. Although at this point, she's keeping up well enough that I'm not taking the slack out. And that's the kind of real progress we're after. Stick around, watch the next segment, and you'll see how she is a little bit later. Gailey, we're here today to talk about a horse's on-off switch. You want a horse that can do dynamic, exciting things without getting mentally excited and without staying energized when it's over. You want to be able to notch your horse up, notch him back. We're going to make a video with the horse in a minute, but for the short haul, I'm going to use my attractive assistant, Jim, here to show an on-off switch. Little different species, but same principle. He's a border collie. Border collies come with an on switch. The off switch is optional. We've worked on putting it off on him. Right there, he is on off. His most favorite thing in the world, Jim, lie down, Jim, is the hose. He would rather play with the hose and the water coming out of it than anything else. He gets pretty wound up. We're going to turn him on and see if we can turn him off. And that will be the same principle as with your horse, and it'll be fun for him. You ready, buddy? Go. Go, go, go. Okay, that'll do. Down. He's ready, but he's not acting on it. He's relaxing. That's your off switch. Thank you, son. We'll go out to the pen now and do something like that with the horse, but hopefully we won't jump as high. That's the directional side. I'm going to show you something that I don't have a title for. And I'm not sure it's even something that's worth seeing, but it's something I do, and I wanted to share it. A few years back, I had a little bitty mare, way too small for me, except her heart was bigger than any horse I think I've ever had almost. And my cover story was I was getting her ready for my daughter to show, and she did show her, and she showed her very successfully. But I managed to hijack her and show her from time to time, and I just loved her. So I made a habit, because this mare would try so hard. When I'd come out of the show pen, I wouldn't ride her out. I'd step off and lead her out. And I had the habit of just putting my hand on her neck like this. And a friend of mine watched me come out. He said, "You know, you look like a fellow walking his girlfriend home after a date." And I thought to myself, kind of feels that way. And I kind of got in the habit after a session with a horse. If I'm walking to the barn, I'll take this mare and I'll put my hand on her head and I'll say, you know, this wasn't a bad thing we did today, and you were a pretty nice pony, and let's just walk out of here like two old friends. You know, when you do that with your horse, what you learn a little about is how they feel about you. Because I've had some horses, I'll put my hand up there, they come over into me. Other horses, they outwalk me. Other horses throw their heads up. But the ones that you're sort of simpatico with, they do this. And we've made 3 videos this morning. This is the end of the session. And I feel like she was good. And she feels like it wasn't a bad deal. And so we're just finishing up the session with this frame of mind. And I think it makes her happy to do it, and it makes me happy to be able to do it. So for whatever it's worth, most of what we do in training horses takes place right in here and right in here. The rest of what we have is just in service of this mind and that mind getting together. And when your horse sort of melts like that, wants to be with you, it's not making a pet of them. It's not trying to bribe them with anything. It's just you're in a good space. It's a good feeling. So that was just a little self-indulgence on my part to show something that makes me feel good. And I bet if you do that with your horse and they like it, and you don't have them walking over you, or you don't have them pulling away, it'll start to feel good to you too. Thanks.